I want to talk a little bit about QLab settings, right? We've learned how to throw some cues in there and make some sound and route it around and do some fades. But the settings part of QLab is this little gear that is down in the lower right-hand corner. And if you click on that, it'll open up a whole another set of menus, and it will probably open to the Generals tab. Each one of these on the side over here is a tab, and you can set queue numbering, right, and how it's the minimum time required between goes, which is great to help avoid double goes. You can set that for 1/10 of a second or 2/10 of a second, and that way if somebody's got nervous fingers, you won't run too many, right? Panic, auto queue number with increments, right, all kinds of things. One thing I do because I'm old is I change my size of my screen to large so that my cues are a little bigger and I can see them more easily. You may or may not need that, right? So the other thing that I want to talk about is going to be audio patch. And when I'm talking about patch is actually the output, right? Is where are we going to send this sound signal as it's coming out of QLab, right? And so the default is going to be whatever the built-in audio for your computer is. And your computer probably has speakers, right? And if it's the built-in audio, right? So then this means whatever I program in there, like my Grace Potter, is programmed to be able to play out of the built-in audio output, right? It'll just come out of the computer speakers, right? This system has an additional sound card that's wired in, and that's what this output patch number 2 is. And it has more than just the stereo left and stereo right outputs, and we'll talk about that here more in a minute. But to change them, you could just click on it, and you can see that it gives you all these other options here, right? If I wanted to select that, I could make it a built-in audio for this one. So they're really easy just to click and to be able to change around. Right, volume limits, right? Well, I'm not going to deal with any of the inputs or microphones since we're just doing playback, right? And so if we were to edit, we can edit the patch of this, and it'll show you the cue outputs. All of this can just remain as a default, right? Device routing, right? This is just showing that channel number 1 is the output left and right, and then each one of these are input, so stereo left, stereo right, and then each one of these corresponds to the output, right? Device outputs, right? All of this can just be left as the default, and you're just fine, right? And so I think I'll go ahead, when you're done making whatever changes you're going to make here, you can just go in and click on done, and it'll take you back in here, and you can see then that when I select Grace Potter, right, the song, I can determine what output it's going to play from. So this is the stereo left and right output, and if I hit go, it's just going to play through my computer sound through the speakers that are on the computer. And if I change that to this one, this is the sound card, and now you'll be able to hear it, right? So these are the speakers that I have in the studio, and that's what I have for patch right now. And I'll come back in a little bit and we'll talk about cue templates.